Let me tell you about the tragic end of Duke Ernst of Swabia, who drew the wrath of his stepfather, the Emperor Conrad II, for not willing to give up his best friend. Ernst had rebelled against his stepfather, and after a year being locked up in a cell, Conrad was prepared to forgive him and to reinstate him as Duke of Swabia, but just under one condition: that Ernst would hand over his friend and vassal, Werner von Kieburg. Torn between ambition and the bonds of friendship and chivalric honor, Ernst did the right thing. He stood with his friend Werner and refused. The imperial backlash was equally harsh as it was unexpected. His stepfather placed Ernst into the ban and got him excommunicated. Werner and Ernst were now outlaws. Anyone could take their lands and their life without repercussions. Anyone aiding them risked to become an outlaw as well. Ernst and Werner fled into the wilderness that was the Black Forest and lived as bandits, until in 1030 one of the soldiers the emperor had sent to capture them got hold of their horses and immobilized them. They took one last stand with a handful of their comrades in a clearing below the castle of Falkenstein. Ernst, Werner, and all their remaining supporters fell, as did the count who had pursued him. Ernst's body was brought to Constance, and after his excommunication was lifted, was buried in the church of St. Mary. When Conrad heard of the death of his stepson, he is supposed to have said, "Vicious dogs rarely have offspring." Unemotional times, it seems. Ernst's mother, the Empress Gisela, accepted the verdict of her husband that had condemned her son to death. There is no cooling in the couple's relationship reported. Ernst became a figure of legend, and his wild adventures were reported and embellished in chivalric romances since the 12th century. If you want to hear more, in particular these stories, check out episode 23 of the History of the Germans podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. There's also a link in the comments.